Joining us now is Dr. Shmuel Katz, one of the leading activists in the United States for Israel advocacy, one of the founders of Stand With Us. Shalom, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure being with you.
You know, many American Jews who care deeply about Israel are asking what to do as the U.S. elections are coming. How do you relate to that?
Thank you for the question. It's a very important topic. And in general, I don't think we should be focusing on a party, one party or the other party. We want both parties to support Israel and the Jewish people. They're both important for us and they're both important for the United States. The important item that we have to pay attention to is to see the individuals who are in a decision-making position. How do they forward their ideas into make it practical for the betterment of the free world, which will benefit the United States and the State of Israel. And therefore our choices have to be very much focused on the benefits to the community at large.
For someone concerned about the rise of anti-Semitic and anti-Israel elements in American society today, what key factors should they consider when deciding which political party to support on election day?
I think that the key importance is to try and see and read between the lines. There are some people who are in a leadership position in the United States who will tell you one thing but will act in a different way. Once you identify the way that they are really acting and the way that it will affect the freedom in the United States and in the State of Israel, we'll be able to gravitate towards those people who will be beneficiary to the United States and to the State of Israel, and at the end of the day, they'll benefit the free society that we're living in.
Do you have a recommendation?
It is very difficult to put the finger on a certain name, on a certain place, or on a certain party, because from my point of view, I think that in general we have to work for good people, because we had good people on both parties in the past, and we want to have good people that we will be in decision-making position also in the future. So we have a whole list of items that we should be looking into and be very much interested in, and this will help us big time in making these decisions. For instance, recently I have just published a very important article which was accepted in Arutz 7 in the Israel National News, where I addressed specifically deception, misinformation, and outright lies which were presented by political operatives, that we will be able to identify important topics which are those that are to the interest of each individual, who will be able to move forward their process of decision making when they go to vote.
Now, as you look at the different pressures coming from the US and other countries, and you focus on education, how could we, through education, prepare the next generation for these challenges?
The wisdom is to be able to relate to historical facts in a clear and an open manner. We have to know our history. We have to know the dynamics of the Middle East. We have to understand the difference in the mentality of the United States, of Europe, and of Israel, and of the Middle East. Once we understand the basic differences in the attitude towards certain topics, it will be much easier to make decisions that will make more practical and reasonable. The leadership of certain countries do not understand the dynamics in the Middle East, the deception which is built into certain radical Islamic movements, where they want to exploit the free world the way we know it. They have to understand that radical Islam openly stated that Israel is a little Satan and the United States is a big Satan, and the Europeans are somewhere in between. They are looking for world domination. So any leader who is in a key position in any country should be understanding that their own future is on the line too. If you have a solid education in Israel, when we understand the history, we understand the dynamics, and we know how to share the information in a practical and a diplomatic way with our allies, I'm sure that they will understand that their own interest is aligned with the interest of the State of Israel, because both will benefit from a solid political decisions that will forward the interest of the free world. And therefore it is so important for all of us to understand the history, know the dynamics, and be able to communicate in a wise and open way with our allies.
So, for example, how would you answer someone who asks, why does Israel oppose the two-state solution?
On the contrary, Israel was for a two-state solution from the day it was created. Israel in 1948, offered homeland also for the Arabs who were living in the neighborhood to have their own space. Even though there are so many Arab states already in the region, Israel received the partition plan of the United Nations. Unfortunately, throughout the many years since the establishment of the State of Israel, the Arab neighbors, for some reason, rejected any option for a two-state solution in the region. They called the Oslo Accords a deception. They wanted to have another stepping stone towards the liquidation of the State of Israel. So we are dealing with some kind of a mentality which is looking forward to the liquidation of the State of Israel. If anybody wants to establish the two-state solution, look, for example, for Jordan. The majority of the people who live in Jordan are Palestinians. The land of the State of Jordan is much, much bigger than the land of the State of Israel. They could have built in a paradise in the region. Israel tested the departure from Gaza and gave the entire land of the Gaza Strip to the Arab Palestinians, hoping that they'll build a Singapore there or a Monaco there, but they created a major infrastructure for terror. And the item which is even more important than everything else is, if you want to see what is the intention of a nation, check what they teach the children in schools. If you take a child from a certain neighborhood within the Palestinian Authority, even in the areas which are under the control, let's call it, of the State of Israel, the Palestinian Authority, Hamas, and all the others are teaching them to destroy the Jews, to destroy the infidels, and they are looking for a position in the global jihad, which is part of the Muslim Brotherhood plan and other radical groups' plan, to eventually control the free world with their own ideology. Therefore, they have so many trends and movements within the society which are undermining the eventuality of creating a peaceful two-state solution in the State of Israel. The State of Israel is only 10% of the British mandate to the Middle East. Israel accepted a little fraction of this area. The radical Arab movement did not accept any Israeli existence in a neighborhood. And therefore, if you want to give a two-state solution to people who want to kill you, nothing is going to happen tomorrow. If we want to have any resolution in the Middle East for a better future for all the people who live there, we must make sure that the education system in the entire area will teach the children for peace. As long as they don't do that, there is no chance for any peaceful resolution to exist, because we saw already what happened in many other regions when there is no control about the educational system. Their radical leaders in the mosques and in the political arena and in the media will share the wrong information with the next generation, and they'll educate people who are going to be even more aggressive than the current leaders that we have today. And therefore we have to be very careful of relinquishing any land or any control to a group who wants to kill you. Literally, they want to kill you. And it's very difficult to give it to people who are deceptive, who will lie to you, because this is within their ideology. And it's unfortunate that we have such a situation. I would rather live in peace, and I don't care where the borders lie, if my neighbor is a good person who wants the better outcome to their own citizens and to the neighbors. Unfortunately, in the Middle East today, we don't have it.
Okay, Dr. Shmuel Katz, thank you very much for being with us.
You're very welcome, and may we hear only peaceful resolutions in the future.